In the space of a month, we witnessed two high-profile ransomware attacks. One against Colonial Pipeline that caused gas shortages and panic buying up and down the East Coast. The second was against JBS Foods, the world's largest meat processing company. In both cases, the companies gave in to demands and paid millions of dollars in bitcoins to cyber criminals. So is that the end of the story? Maybe not. It's all rather more complicated than it might seem. To help take us below the headline news is Eric Cole, a former CIA hacker, founder of a cybersecurity company and author of a new book, Cyber Crisis: Protecting Your Business from Real Threats in the Virtual World. Eric, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we know now that JBS paid $11 million in extortion money, and Colonial Pipeline paid $4.4 million. Apparently, $2.3 million of which has been recovered. We can get to that. But with so many high-profile cases lately, I can only imagine that ransomware attacks are probably a lot more common than most people think. Do you have a sense? Can you tell us how common they are, and importantly, how often companies pay up?
Yes, so with ransomware, essentially what has happened is these cyber criminal groups have basically made this a business. So it's not where they just targeted Colonial or they targeted JBS, but they're targeting everybody. I know individuals that have got targeted with ransomware that have paid $200 or $300. I know small companies that pay $5,000 or $6,000 to get their data back. Medium organizations pay $80 to $100K, and big organizations pay millions. So this problem has been ongoing for multiple years. It's just when you get a super high profile attack, it comes to the forefront. But it is really, unfortunately, a normal part of doing business if you don't focus on cybersecurity.
Is it getting worse? I mean, it seems like it.
It is absolutely getting worse for the simple reason that companies pay.
It works.
It works. It's revenue generating. So if you think of these groups as basically commercializing cyber criminal activity, if I do an activity and it generates revenue, I'm going to do more of it. And because most companies are ill prepared, as soon as one or two companies pay and they're making money, they're just going to continue to target that industry more and more frequently.
So there's a phenomenon that there's two kinds of things going on. One is they can either ransom your data itself, but then another one is they can threaten to sell your data. So it seems like even if you get the keys back to your data and pay them off, you're still not free of them. How often is that second kind used?
Unfortunately, the ideal organization that these entities go after are ones that have critical and sensitive information. So you're absolutely right. Phase one of the attack is ransomware. Pay us money or you don't get the data back. But you say, oh, I have a backup and we can recover, no thank you. They then come back with extortion and say, well, that's well and good, but we're going to take your sensitive information and give it away to the public and embarrass you or embarrass your customers. So that's sort of the ideal situation where you see police officers, hospitals, and other sensitive entities being targeted. It's basically a 1-2 punch. If you don't have to pay the ransom, you're still going to get caught on the extortion side.
It's crazy. And there was just a report out this week from Cyber Reason News Network, and they put out a report called, it was a global study in ransomware, the true cost to business. And they said that 80% of companies that pay up get hit again, and often by the same criminals. Well, so why do you pay?
You pay to get the data back, but you really pay so you could fix your security moving forward. This is sort of like the cyber version of the 70s in New York City with the mafia, where they would come into your business and say, we're going to offer you protection services. Well, you don't really need protection services, but you're going to pay the money. And once you pay them once, if you ever stop paying, they're going to basically retaliate against you. So we're seeing the same thing here where, yes, paying, unfortunately, is the quick and easiest way to get your information back and protect from extortion. But you better implement a lot of security and fix it very quickly, because otherwise they're going to keep coming back. And a lot of companies are now viewing ransom payment as a cost of doing business.
Oh, wow. Okay, I have a couple of thoughts on that. But if they've attacked you and they've gotten in and let's say you've got your data back, let's say you've put up your security, couldn't they just, put malware in there and they have so many different ways that they can, now access you afterwards. Is that true, or can you actually shore things up enough?
No, you're spot on. If they got into your systems and they got into your infrastructure, that they're able to take control, like with Colonial, or encrypt all of your data, like with hospitals or police departments, they essentially have control of your systems.
Be sure to watch the entire episode, now available exclusively at EpochTV.com, a new completely censorship-free premium subscription platform brought to you by the Epoch Times. See you there.